You got your snack, you got your drink, you comfy. Are you ready? Ready to get into it? Okay. Hey besties, I'm Miko and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. So, as you can tell from the title, we are doing a Euphoria video. We are talking about how I feel about the first season of Euphoria. A lot of you may not know this, but Euphoria is in my top 3 favorite shows. I'm obsessed with it. I love it so much. And so doing this video, I tried to be unbiased as possible and see both sides to everything. So yeah, before we start, just want to give a big trigger warning. In this video is going to be or maybe mentions of drug usage and abuse, underage drinking or any type of alcohol, any type of abuse really, whether it's sexual, physical, mental, verbal, any type of abuse you can think of is might be mentioned. Also, like the underaged, like statutory, like R word. I was trying to think of a way to say it. Overdoses, homophobia, transphobia, anxiety, depression, literally everything under the sun. It's a trigger warning for everything under the sun. So if you're uncomfortable with any of those things, or maybe something I didn't mention, I suggest you not watch this if it's going to trigger you. And there are a lot of triggers in this show. Abortion as well. So yeah, those are the trigger warnings. So for a disclaimer, this is my opinion, only my opinion. It's not fact. No one's opinion is fact. So yeah, don't take my opinion to heart. And of course, you can always have your own opinion as well. Just how that's what makes the world go round. Opinions, having different thoughts. We can't all think the same. Another disclaimer is I'm only talking about the characters, not the actors that portray them. So I have nothing against the actual actors that are doing their job in acting. Only talking about the characters. So if I say something negative or positive, it's about the characters, not their actors. Okay, so yeah, trigger warning, disclaimers. Now that that's out the way, make sure you guys follow me on all social medias if you want to. They were at the beginning of the video and they will be down below. And without further ado, let's get into this Euphoria video. This is how I feel about season 1 of Euphoria. One more thing, I did not start watching season 2 until I finished this season 1 script, because and I knew in the second season the way I felt about characters were gonna change, so I made sure I finished the season 1 script before I started watching season 2. So yeah, I got my, if I'm looking right here, I got my computer right here. I got my water just in case your girl throat get dry or whatever. And yeah, now we can get started for real. So, I broke down everything into different categories of what I'm going to be talking about. And y'all, this is thick. It's 12 pages long. So we're going to be here for a while. So get your drink, get your snack, get comfy. I worked really hard on this. I've been working on this since January, and I've rewatched the show so many times. Just because, like I said, it's my favorite. I started watching it in 2020, and now it's 2022. Whew. So, yeah, I'm really proud of this. I worked hard on it, and I hope you guys like it as well. So I broke the show. Everything I want to talk about into sections. Like I said, I have the show itself that I'm going to talk about. And within that, and then it has like subcategories within that. And then I have, wait a minute, because I got to scroll a lot. Like a lot, like a lot. And then I have the fashion, which is everyone's favorite, and that has its own subcategories within it. And then lastly, I have the music. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about all things Euphoria for season 1. So the show. What is Euphoria? Euphoria is an HBO Max original series that follows the lives of high schoolers as they try to navigate love, friendships, drugs, sex, trauma, and social media. The show is mainly centered around Rue Bennett, a 17-year-old drug addict that is fresh out of rehab due to an accidental overdose and has no plans on staying clean until she meets Jules. So the show was created by, or is created by, Sam Levinson. And the first season came out in 2019. It obviously was a huge hit thanks to the amazing makeup, fashion, music, and great storytelling, along with phenomenal camera work. The show even went on to win some outstanding awards, the most notable one being an Emmy given to Zendaya, who plays Rue Bennett, for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series. The show has met large amounts of praise and criticism. From what I have seen, it has met far more praise. The praise has gotten the praise it has gotten is mainly about the show being realistic, and the criticism it has gotten, ironically, is about the show being unrealistic. And I agree with both. It is realistic and unrealistic to me. So let's dive more into that. Realistic or unrealistic? The show is realistic in how it depicts drug abuse and usage, what it's really like being an addict, and how not only the addict suffers, but everyone around them does as well. It's realistic in the things teenagers mostly go through in their everyday lives. Teenagers have trouble with friendships, relationships, insecurities, peer pressure, sex, social media, you name it, they have problems with it. They must deal with all of this while trying to do, stupid history homework, trying not to flunk out of school, and anything that's pertains to school, really. It's hard to be having a fight with your friend, realizing you have the worst boyfriend in the world, being misunderstood from your parents, trying to fit in, feeling insecure about your body, having extracurricular activities, and doing schoolwork and tests. Now, add in drug addiction, SA, every kind of abuse, domestic violence, trauma, poor mental health, and death. Yeah, and you're like, it's understandable why you would be so stressed out and freaking out about everything. Adults strongly believe, however, that teenagers have it easy. So the show is unrealistic because it can go to the extreme. And when I say extreme, I mean graphic. The show is on HBO, which basically means it can be as graphic as it wants to be, since it isn't on regular cable. This is a show about high school kids and the age group of, I want to say 14 to 18. So, from 14 to 18, roughly 14, maybe it might start at 15, that age range. Or why am I seeing unnecessary nudity? Nudity, just in general, really, any kind of nudity, and also gruesome sex scenes. Even though most of these characters are played by adults, the characters are still underage, and I am seeing them as underage characters and not their regular adult selves. I don't want to constantly see naked teenagers and disturbing sex scenes, especially when they're adult, especially with their adult character counterparts. So, yes, I am talking about Cal and Jules. If you know, you know. Not only that one though, but others too, like Cassie and Mckay, Nate and Maddie, and so on. Teenage sex can be implied without being shown so graphically. It's just kind of uncomfortable to see. I'm not saying teenagers don't have sex and it can't look like that in real life. I'm just saying these are kids. It can be toned down a little bit or a lot. And we just don't need to see all that. You know, most of the people that are watching are adults, and we aren't idiots for the most part. So we can tell, like, when something is implied and what went down when it's implied. So, yeah, that's realistic and unrealistic. So now let's go into more on graphicness. So besides sex, being graphic in a show or a movie isn't a bad thing. I would even prefer it. For example, seeing Nate beat the hell out of Tyler just made me want to crawl in a ball and hide under my covers. It makes my body tingle and cringe every time I watch it. It is beyond uncomfortable to see, but in the best way possible. If Tyler's beating from Nate was only implied, you wouldn't get the full effect of how it adds to the show, and more importantly, Nate's character. Another graphic thing that needed to be seen was Rue's overdose. They showed everything, her being laid out on the bedroom floor with vomiting covering her, her little sister Gia, not knowing what to do, and that was just beyond sad to see. It gives us a better understanding of what happened to Rue and how seeing that can and would affect Gia. Now, going back to criticism, I have seen here and there that some people don't like the depiction of drugs in the show. People think it will make drug addicts or abusers want to relapse. They think it will make teenagers want to try drugs because Euphoria makes it look pretty. Personally, I don't see how this show would make anyone want to do drugs. There's nothing pretty about it. Okay, so there are like these fantasy scenes when the characters are high and everything becomes glittery and sparkly and pretty. They look like they're having so much fun, right? Well, it also shows the weird things you do while on drugs. For example, Cassie, I don't know if I can say this on YouTube, but masturbating or getting off on a carousel, how it can put you into danger, Rue's overdose and Maddie getting choked by Nate, a bad trip, Jules hallucinating seeing Nate, and terrible come downs after the depression that Maddie experienced. It also has that heartbreaking scene of Rue banging on Fez's door for drugs, screaming at him and calling him all types of names. And saying terrible things to him because he denied giving her drugs. So, is Euphoria realistic? Yes and no. I do appreciate the realism because it is good to see yourself and identify with the characters. Do I mind it not being 100% realistic? Yes. I appreciate it still being distant from my real life so it can feel like an enjoyable escape and not me watching my own life that I'm trying to get away from, if that makes sense. So, now, the characters. The characters on this show consist of Rue, a struggling addict, Jules, a transgender girl searching for where she truly belongs in the world, Nate, a jock with anger issues and sexuality insecurities, Chris, aka Mckay, no one calls him Chris, a high school football star that is struggling to adapt to his new college life, Cassie, a girl whose sexual history constantly haunts her. Kat, a girl who is hyper aware of her body and is exploring her sexuality. Maddie, a girl trying to navigate herself through a toxic and abusive relationship with Nate. Lexi, a shy girl trying to find her own voice. And lastly, Fezco, aka Fez, a college, can't remember if he's a college dropout or a high school dropout, drug dealer that has a big heart and a lot of responsibility. There are other characters too, such as Gia, Rue's younger sister, and Leslie, Rue's mother, David, Jules' dad, Cal Jacobs, Nate's dad, Ashtray, Fez's little brother, Suze, Lexi and Cassie's mother, Ali, Rue's kind of sponsor and mentor, and lastly, Barbara, aka BB, a friend of Maddie, Kat, and Cassie. There's also Ethan, Kat's super sweet love interest, and Mckay's younger twin brothers that are annoying as shit. I don't even remember their names, but I know one of them likes Gia or is talking to Gia or whatever. But we don't care though. We don't care for the twins. They're annoying. So now the kids. Starting off with Rue. As I mentioned before, Rue is a 17-year-old struggling drug addict. I use the word struggling because at some points she tries to get clean, and at other points she has no intention on getting clean. Once she left rehab, she immediately relapsed on drugs. She met Jules and wanted to stay clean for her, and for the most part she did until she didn't. Rue has a few disorders that go along with her drug addiction. She was diagnosed with OCD, ADD, generalized anxiety disorder, and possibly bipolar disorder undiagnosed. She is shown in the show having extreme manic and depressive episodes, and it was hinted that this wasn't the first time she's been through these episodes. I think Rue even looked up one time, does someone know when they're bipolar, or does a bipolar person know when they're bipolar, or something like that. So yeah, she might also she might also have bipolar disorder as well. Rue must balance. Sorry if I get out of breath, y'all. There's a lot of words. Rue must balance all these disorders, managing staying clean and keeping her drug addiction under control, grieving the death of her father, and trying to be there for her mom and sister while also trying to have a normal teenage life. Rue is my baby. I love her. I want to protect her, and I will always wish her the best and be on her side even when she does mess up. She's so sweet and so loving. I mean, she is, but like, of course, like if you've watched season 2, yeah, you can see she can be, but even in the first season as well, you can see she can, like, when drugs are involved, she can be not a good person. Yes, she can be a pain in the ass, but she's constantly battling herself. She falls hard, but she tries to get back up and keep going. The only thing I don't like about Rue is that she didn't get clean for herself. She got clean for Jules, which is a big mistake because once Jules left, she was heartbroken and relapsed again. So she needs to get clean for herself and no one else. I don't know why this just popped in my head, but Rue is based loosely. Jeez, it's loosely based. Shit. Hold on. Rue is loosely based off of, or not loosely, is based off of Sam Levinson. Okay. Speaking of Jules, next is Jules. So Jules is the new girl in town. She moved from a bigger city to the smaller suburban town where the rest of the cast is from. You don't find out why she moved until the special episode that is centered around Jules. Jules started cross-dressing at a young age, which eventually led to her transitioning. Jules has a problem with self-harm. She even had to go to a mental facility to help stop her from harming herself, and she battles with depression. Jules and her dad moved away from the city because of her alcoholic mother. Jules' kind of main purpose and goal in life is to conquer femininity. As she says herself, she wants to become the ultimate girl and feel completely like a woman. She wants everyone, mainly men, to see her as only a girl and not a trans girl. She wants to live in and embrace her girlhood unapologetically without being reminded that she wasn't born that way. She wants her own place in the world. This is the reason she fell so hard for Tyler, because he saw her as a girl and nothing less. So we're gonna get to Tyler. Jules does love Rue just as much as Rue love her. Rue may love her a little bit more, but you get the gist. But she does keep that love at a distance because of Rue's addiction, which reminds her of her mother. Jules doesn't want to be in a relationship where the other person's well-being is dependent on her. She doesn't want to be with someone she has to constantly worry about and take care of when she's only 17 and shouldn't have to. Jules just wants to be a normal girl, but everything about her makes her not normal. I relate to Jules so much in the first season. I feel for her and I love her. She's such a sweetheart and didn't deserve what Nate did to her from the beginning. Nate was out to get Jules from the moment he saw her riding her bike on the street, minding her own business. Nate has blackmailed Jules, one, because he's crazy, two, to cover up his disgusting father's mistakes, even though he doesn't have to and shouldn't. And three, because he's scared of Jules and what she is and what she represents to him. Jules not only got her heart broken, but could potentially go to jail if she's caught in Nate's mess, because of Nate's basically blackmailed and incriminated her. So, speaking of the demon, the next person is Nate. First things first, I want Nate Jacobs to know that hell is hot. I don't think he knows by the things that he does and says. He doesn't know that hell is hot. I'm letting Nate Jacobs know right now, hell is hot. Hell is really hot, and that's where he's going to be. I really want him to fry down there. Nate Jacobs is a lunatic. He's a crazy person. He's abusive towards Maddie. He's mean to everyone in town. He ruined Jules' life and broke her heart. He's potentially homophobic and transphobic. I'm just saying potentially to be on the safe side. He's a liar, a bully, misogynistic, and again, abusive. Nate is obviously struggling with his sexuality and coming to terms with it. He is confused about sexuality because of the things his dad has hidden from him, but he eventually ended up seeing and figuring out anyway. Nate made up this Tyler persona to hurt Jules because he's scared of Jules and wants to have control over her. He needed another person to help with his lie to save his own ass from getting in trouble with the police because he decided to strangle Maddie, and to save his dad's ass from possibly going to jail because he had sex with Jules, a teenage girl, grown man in his 40s with a 17-year-old girl. Nate has always had anger issues as a child, and the older he got, the worse it has gotten. He's a torment to the entire town. He's a terrible son. Granted, his father is terrible too. He's a terrible boyfriend. He's a terrible friend. The way he treats and talks to Mckay about Cassie and just in general. And he's a terrible human being in general. I hate him. That's all. Also, the Tyler persona he created is the Tyler that he beat, almost to death. So he just took his names so he could mess with Jules or whatever. On another note, though, I do hope he figures out himself and his sexuality, work on his anger issues, and treat women with respect. Imagine seeing like what he saw his dad doing to other people sexually at such a young age. I would be messed up too, but like not Jade who not Nate's evil kind of like messed up. Like I would be messed up, but I wouldn't be psychotic like Nate, I don't think. Um Lastly, I hope he figure out he doesn't have to be overly masculine and the perfect son and man to protect himself from being judged. That's not doing anything but making people run away from him and not towards him to get him the help, love, and attention that he needs. The next person is Maddie. Maddie is one of my favorites. She's that girl. She doesn't even have to try to be that girl. She just is. I assume that she's the most popular girl in school along with Cassie. It isn't like specifically said, but you can tell based off her personality, fashion, elaborate makeup, dating Nate, who's the most popular boy in school, and being a cheerleader that she's the it girl, which she is, in school. And I think just in the whole town too, just in general. She's the it girl. She comes from a pageant background, which explains the elaborate makeup and clothes. Maddie wants more for herself in life, but without having to actually work for it. Hence her relationship with Nate. He gives her whatever she wants, and she doesn't have to lift a finger. Besides the part where she must boost his ego by doing all the things he likes to get the things she wants, even though she doesn't want to do those things, if that makes sense. She's so willing to not be like her mother, working hard and ending up with barely anything in return for it, that she will accept abuse from Nate. Physical, emotional, mental, and verbal abuse. You name it, he's doing it. I think besides sexual. She thinks being sad and trapped with Nate, getting everything she's ever wanted, is better than being genuinely happy and not having much. Maddie went as far as to lying for Nate to the police about a crime that Tyler didn't commit just to save Nate and get back together with him. Also, she lied to the police saying that Nate didn't abuse her, physically abuse her when he did. Maddie does love Nate. She does love Nate. It isn't all about what he can give her. She's really in love with him and hates him at the same time. Hence them being toxic. She knows he's terrible to her. She even said it herself at the dance, but she feels as if her love for him is stronger than all of the bad things he puts her through. Other than Nate, Maddie is extremely beautiful, headstrong, and confident. You know, she's a tough bitch. She really is, and she can be selfish and rude sometimes. But she has her sensitive sides too, like being accepting of Nate's unconfirmed sexuality, being there for all her friends, and never really being judgmental. Like, you know, somebody, if like Cassie and Kat come like with some crazy story of what, or like whatever, she's not just gonna sit there and judge them and be like, ew girl. Like, most of the part she encourages them, for the most part she encourages them to be crazy. So yeah, that's Miss Maddie. Cassie, moving on to Miss Cassie. Cassie in season 1 is not Cassie in season 2. I'm gonna go ahead and say that right now. Cassie in season 1 is a completely different person for Cassie in season 2. Don't comfort season 1 Cassie. Just had to say that real quick. So, Cassie is a girl that lives her life for others. She's a people pleaser and deeply insecure. She's super sweet but lacks a backbone. She's very pretty but lacks personal style. She's emotional, understanding, and empathetic, but she also is a contradiction to herself. She's passive and lets and everybody treats her any kind of way. For her whole life, she has been mistreated by men, starting from her father that abandoned her. I think that Cassie thinks she wasn't good enough to make her father stay in her life. So now she must do whatever a boy wants to keep them from leaving her. She does sex tapes and nudes and has sex whenever the boy wants. She does this for all her boyfriends, and she does. I'm sorry, I totally just became illiterate for like 3 seconds. She does this for all her boyfriends that ask, even when she doesn't want to, because she thinks if she doesn't, they will leave her. And she's right. They will leave her with the quickness. Um, they will leave her after she does all that for them because, I mean, they're like, if she doesn't do it, they're gonna leave her. When after she does do it, they still leave her anyway because they only want her for her body and what she's known for. Cassie knows all of this. She knows all of this. Like, she's very aware. She just doesn't care to a certain extent because she doesn't want to be alone and feels like she needs a boyfriend for validation when all they constantly do is invalidate her, especially after they get what they want from her. Cassie was willing to even have Mckay's baby because she thought it would make them a family and make him want to stay with her forever. And Mckay was ready to run for the hills when she told him he was ready to get out of there ASAP. He was ready to be a deadbeat, disappearing father. He was ready. Um, he eventually convinced her to not keep the baby, which, I mean, it was a butthole move on his part, but also it was the best decision for her because Mckay is not the guy she should want to start a family with, especially at 17 or 18. I can't remember which one Cassie is. But yeah, he did right by talking her out of that because she deserves more. Not him. Mm-mm. Cassie is a sweet girl. She really is so sweet. But she's naive, passive, insecure, a doormat, and has no sense of self. Her dad leaving her and not coming back wasn't her fault, and she doesn't deserve the terrible treatment from all the boys she's ever interacted with. Even that Danny kid said to her face that boys only talk to her so they can sleep with her and not because they're interested in anything else about her, especially anything she's interested in or what she thinks. At the fair, Mckay did not want to claim her in front of Nate or anyone for that matter because he's embarrassed by her. Yet he still begs her for nudes and sex. It's terrible what Cassie had to go through during the first season. You really wish better for her, especially after that masturbation incident on the carousel, her abortion, and being sexually mistreated by Mckay and every other guy on the show. So yeah, season 1 Cassie, she had my heart. Season 2 Cassie, we'll get to her when I talk about season 2. So now let's get into Chris Mckay. No one calls him Chris. So yeah, let's get into Mr. Mckay because oh my god. I have mixed emotions for this guy. Not really. I'm kind of one-sided. I'm just gonna say they're mixed. On one hand, compared to all the other males on the show, besides Jules' dad because he's an angel, Fez and Ashtray and Ethan, he's the most tolerable. Like, David, Ethan, Fez, and Ashtray are on a completely different level of male. But between Nate and Mckay's like twin brothers and And what was that other kid's name? David, not David. What's that dude's name? Danny. Like, between those guys, Mckay is the most tolerable. He's the most tolerable butthole. There we go. Mckay's the most tolerable butthole of all the other buttholes on this show. Every other male on this show, or every male, yeah, almost every male on this show pisses me off, as you can probably tell. Mckay tried his hardest to be the nice guy. But he ended up being one of the most contradicting, judgmental, and insecure little pricks. Mckay was taught from childhood by his father to suppress his emotions and only focus on football. Terrible, 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 almost disgusting parenting. He doesn't know anything except for football. He doesn't know how to express his emotions, doesn't allow himself to feel anything other than victory, doesn't have healthy coping mechanisms for when he's upset. His dad told him to take it out on the field, bottle up his anger or whatever he's feeling, and only release it when he's playing football. What the hell kind of parenting is that? That is disgusting. That is some of the most terrible parenting I have ever heard of. Mckay did just that too. He listened to his dad, but once he wasn't playing enough on the field, once he made it to college, he started to release that anger on Cassie, because didn't have anywhere to release it. Like on the football field, he wasn't getting enough playtime. He started to become very aggressive during sex with her. He started nitpicking everything she does, and he started to act annoyed with her and sometimes even avoid her when it wasn't pertaining to something sexual. Speaking of Cassie, he treats her like shit, as we mentioned before when talking about Cassie. But before we get into that, let's talk about his relationship with Nate and how he's Nate's little leg humper. I think he's scared of Nate, but who wouldn't be? It's Nate. Or he thinks he needs Nate to a certain extent. He doesn't. No one needs Nate. If anything, we all need to get rid of him. He never puts Nate in his place. Always lets Nate do and say whatever he wants to him, and everyone else wants to always look good in Nate's eyes and impress him. Always cares about what Nate thinks with everything. Like this, he doesn't have a mind of his own. He's sharing a mind with Nate. From football to Cassie, it's always about what Nate thinks, and that mostly comes from his father's terrible parenting, I think. He's not only like this with Nate, but with every single one of his friends. He always tries to impress them, does whatever they want, and lets them treat him and talk to him any kind of way. Hence the incident in his dorm room when they all barged in there and assaulted him, basically. Did he do anything to them? No. Of course he didn't. He took it out on Cassie. It's giving pathetic. It's giving sad. It's giving very much sad and pathetic. It's giving very much need therapy. Back to Cassie. Mckay is a walking contradiction. He wants to be the good guy, the nice guy, but he's not. He's just as bad as every other male on the show, but not as blatant. Compared to the others, he's not as terrible, but he's still terrible. Listen to what the things he does to my girl Cassie. He doesn't claim her in front of his friends. He makes her change clothes because he's embarrassed by how she dresses and doesn't like her showing too much of her body. He slut shames her for sending nudes and having sex tapes, but then in the same breath he will ask her for nudes, constantly wants sex from her, and likes to show her off when it's convenient for him to have a pretty girl on his arm. We're tired. Imagine how tired Cassie is. She's really tired. Another example, he was expressing to Cassie how he feels frustrated and concerned about football or playing football on his college team because he isn't playing as much as he was in high school, and barely even that. Cassie wants to make him feel better by having sex, and Mckay shuts it down and says something like, "Why is everything always about sex with you?" Something along those lines, or why you got to make everything so sexual, something like that. So, after he basically gets assaulted during the hazing in front of Cassie, remember when I mentioned that? She asks if he's all right and wants to talk about it. Something that he wanted from her about the football situation. And he says no and proceeds to have aggressive sex that made her uncomfortable. But it was just why you make everything so sexual when you're trying to have a serious conversation. Speak for your crimes, Mckay. So yeah, taking his anger out on her and being a contradiction to himself. He slut shamed her for no reason. I can't with this guy. Like, I can't deal with him. Like, at least Nate knows he's terrible. Nate knows he's a bad guy. He knows he's psychotic. But Mckay thinks he's a good guy, and that's what blows my mind. He actually thinks he's a nice guy, and he's not. He's not. Whew. It's okay. He's gonna get straightened out one day. Now moving on to Lexi, my girl Lexi. Lexi deserves so much more and should be protected. She's so pure, sweet, and quiet. You can tell she loves reading, art, and anything to do with school and becoming more intelligent. She's a daydreamer and observer. I can look at her and tell she wants her life to be different all the time. But she's doing her best with what she has until she can run away. Everyone constantly looks over her and comes to her when they need her help. Rue only acknowledges her when she needs to lie about not doing drugs or when Jules isn't talking to her. Cassie only uses her to fuel her validation and insecurity problems, wanting Lexi to give her compliments or lie to her boyfriend about where she is. Cassie's friends aren't her friends. They just talk to Lexi by association. And her mother can only see Cassie. That woman that never pays attention to or acknowledges Lexi, at least in the first season. Lexi is there to help everyone, but no one is ever there to help Lexi. Like I said, I wrote a lot of this stuff before I watched the second season. I've watched the second season now, but so I know what's gonna happen in the second season. But I'll still read what I said. So I said I hope in the second season she gets so much more because she really deserves it. I see so much of myself in her. Almost I see a lot of myself in almost all the characters. the good ones, that is. But she's higher up there of like the people that like I can really see myself in and relate to. Lexi doesn't deserve to live in anyone's shadow, be their ego booster, their second option, their cover up or scapegoat. She deserves to live her own life with her own good friends. I love Lexi and I can't wait to see her story in season 2, which I already have. Lastly, a quick shout out for my favorite Lexi moments. Her Bob Ross Halloween costume, and when she was playing detective with Rue, she was too cute. She was so cute. I love Lexi. Next is Kat. Okay. I know I said I have mixed emotions for Mckay, but I really have mixed emotions for Kat. On one hand, I really understand her and empathize with her. I love what she stands for to a certain extent, because I would never agree with minors doing sex work or becoming hypersexually active just to feel good about themselves. And in Kat's sense, she wants to feel good about her body and size. On the other hand, she gets on my goddamn nerves. The way she started treating her friends and Ethan really made me want to fight her. She was, she became a complete bitch, and I was not for that at all. Like, she was so rude to her friends, and especially sweet Ethan. He did nothing wrong, Kat. Y'all should see the way what she does in season 2. Oh my god, girl. But yeah, the way she did Maddie really made me want to like square up and throw hands with her, because girl, like, that was beyond low down, beyond fake, and beyond rude. Like, I didn't like that. Don't get me wrong, I know it was mentioned that her friends ignore her and don't treat her the best. And they don't really acknowledge her until they need someone to vent to about their problems, but never ask her about like what's going on with her. So like, I'm all about her standing up for herself and setting boundaries to protect herself. But that wasn't just petty girl drama. Maddie is in an abusive relationship, and she was crying on the phone to Kat, asking for help or something like that. And Kat dismissed her so she could give oral sex to a stranger. If that was my friend, I would try to talk to Maddie, just like help her figure something out. I would be kind of worried. And Kat didn't give a damn. And I know Maddie always goes to her about Nate and him being abusive and their on and off relationship, and I'm sure Kat has said many times, girl, leave him alone. We've all been through that with friends, but like when you're in an abusive relationship, it's really hard to leave and let go. So you just, I don't know, like, I get it, but it was just like, God, like, you ain't, like, dang, ow, like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It was just a lot. Like, it really was just a lot. But yeah, okay, so let's backtrack a little bit. Kat is 16 or 17 years old. I think she's 16. She may be 17. I don't know. But yeah, so she's plus sized. She's a plus sized beautiful girl. Not saying that any other plus sized girl isn't beautiful, but that's just like her whole thing in the show, her being plus size and embracing it. She's smart, sweet, shy, nerdy, and vulnerable. She has a big imagination with a lot of insecurities to go along with them. For the most part, she stays to herself and tries not to get in anyone's way. She tries to cover her body and keep her head down. At least that's how we was introduced to her. After Nate's party, where a lot of stuff went down, it was a chaotic party. Kat's sex tape came out. She lost her virginity that night to a random guy that goes to a different school from her. He recorded it without her consent, and then him and Mckay's little brothers sent it around to everyone. This is why we don't mess with Mckay's little brothers, because they're menaces to society, and especially girls. The video spread quickly, and even though you can't see Kat's face, everyone can still tell it was her. At least the people that's closest to her can. But no one really knew for sure. Kat blackmailed the boys to delete it, mainly Mckay's little brothers, and to stop sending it around. And then she made them buy her stuff, queen shit, After the incident, Kat completely changed the way she dressed and acted. She did a full 180, no Dua Lipa. She went from wearing casual, a basic, figure-hiding, and boring clothing to wearing more dark-colored, form-fitting, sexy clothing, and it was really cute. I was digging it. She wasn't shy and passive anymore either. She was full-on confident. At least that's what she wanted us to think. Extroverted and embracing her sexuality. I use that term loosely. So let's get more into that. Or I use that phrase loosely. So yes, Kat was embracing her sexuality more, which is what most teenagers do, and people in general after they have sex for the first time, or you don't even have to have sex for the first time. You can do it as a virgin too, whatever. She's hooking up and having fun and trying to explore this new sexuality and personality or persona, which is great until that becomes her only personality trait. It started off as, I don't want to be this shy, insecure, stepped on person. I want to be more confident and empowering and assertive. I think she did that so well at first, and then she just started to transition into this rude person that no one wants to be around. She went from embracing her body and exploring her sexuality to just hooking up with anyone that will give her attention. She thinks they're hooking up with her because she's a confident, bigger girl. But it's really because Kat made it easy for them to have that much access to her. She's not being confident. She's trying to find confidence through these boys that don't care if she's big or not. They just want to hook up, and she lets them. She doesn't have any power over men like she thinks she does because one, she's 16, and two, she doesn't know what she's doing. She thinks dressing sexier and being sassy is having confidence, but girl, no. No. That doesn't mean anything to anybody. But she's like 16 or 17 years old, so she thinks it does. But I'm telling you right now, Kat, honey, it don't. It don't. I just hate that she became this rude and annoying person, and she has the nerve to call it confidence. And by the way, I am not slut shaming Kat. I don't believe in slut shaming. I just think she has this false sense of confidence. She can hook up with whoever she wants, but she's only hooking up with these boys to feel more confident and like she has control when she actually doesn't. She started to choose that persona over her friends and dismissing Ethan. The last thing I want to say about Kat, and I mentioned it before, is her, at least I think I did, is her being a sex worker. Trying not to throw up. It's disgusting. I hate it. Cut it out immediately. Cut it immediately. We're done with that. Wrap it up. Throw it away. We're done with it. She's a child doing sex work for these creepy old men. I want to throw up every time I watch the show. It's nasty. Hang it up immediately. Hang it up. No more of that in season 2. I already know what's going to happen with Kat in season 2. She's barely there, to be honest, but no more of that in season 2. I want to effective immediately, end it immediately. No, stop. Thank you. I like Kat. I like Kat. I really do, but she can be annoying as hell. I know what it feels like to feel uncomfortable in your body, to be looked over and be mistreated because of the way you might look, and I understand those things making her want to change into this more confident person. What I want from Kat, or what I want Kat to learn, is being confident and being a rude person is not simultaneous. It's not simultaneous. Simultaneous. I hope I'm saying that right. It's not. I want her to learn real confidence, and real confidence is not exploiting her body to boys that don't care for her and to creepy old men on the internet. So, yes, next is Fez. My beloved Fez, the coolest guy on the show and probably in the entire world. I really like Fez a lot. He's super chill and nice. He doesn't care about anything, but at the same time, he cares about everything. He looks out for his family and friends. He's running a business at the gas station and as a drug dealer, hardworking king. He stays to himself and minds his own business until it involves him or someone he cares about. He's genuinely nice, a real nice guy, not whatever the fuck Mckay thinks he is, and tries to help Rue the best way he can. You know, he doesn't want any problems, but he will do what he needs to do to protect himself and his loved ones. It was hard and shocking seeing him beat the hell out of that guy, out of the plug for Mouse. You know, like when he was robbing him, because that's the opposite of how we've been seeing him all season. But that just goes to show that he's super chill, but not the one to mess with. He must be a Leo or Scorpio. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know, Aquarius. I don't know. I love Fez, and can't wait to see more of his story in season 2, which, like I said, I already seen in season 2. So next is Gia. Gia is the little sister of Rue. We don't know too much about Gia as an individual, other than she's, you know, super sweet, sensitive, caring, and always has Rue's back. She witnessed something devastatingly traumatic, and that was watching her sister overdose and almost die. She tries her best to defend and protect Rue from her mother, even though Leslie isn't trying to hurt Rue. She's only trying her best to help her. But she can go too far, like when she hit Rue right in front of Gia, but also maybe that was probably the best thing to do, but we're going to get more into that when we talk about Leslie. Gia loves her sister dearly. She loves her mother as well, and she hates to watch them fight. She's affected by her father's death as well as witnessing Rue almost die, and she's trying to be, you know, she's just trying to be a normal teenage girl, but she just can't do that with all this devastating traumatic stuff that's happening in her home. You know, she's witnessed too much at a young age, but she's trying to make sense of it the best way she can and just remain calm and normal. And I hope to see more Gia in season 2. Whew, y'all, I'm trying to finish this video, but I keep having to pee. And it's probably because I'm drinking on this water, but like I need it. My throat get dry. But any May, girl, I need to get I need to get it together. But anyway, the last child that we're going to talk about is Ashtray. We don't know much about Ashtray yet during season 1. The only opinion I have of him is that he's funny, sarcastic, kind of scary, a badass, and too young to be selling drugs. But I really want to know more about Ashtray, and we will find out more about him in season 2, which we have, girl. So now, moving on to the adults. First up, Cal Jacobs. Just like his son, he's a monster. He's a demonic entity and should not be in society. Now, while I do understand that Cal struggled with his sexuality for a long time, probably since childhood, but based off the way he talked about it, I'm assuming it's been since his teen years, and he is struggling with it now. But that is no excuse for the things he has done, for the crimes he has committed. Instead of working towards coming into his own sexuality, he instead decides to constantly cheat on his wife with random men and transgender women, including Jules, who is a minor, and probably many other minors that we don't know about yet. Yes, Jules lied about her age to him, but I am sure he would have been able to tell that Jules is an underage teenager. I'm sure he would have been able to look at Jules and tell she was underage. He just didn't want to. He lies to his family all the time. He records all the aggressive sex he has with these strangers. puts them on a CD, and then saves them neatly, might I add, in a file cabinet. And lastly, he's a terrible father. He lets Nate get away with everything. He knows Nate strangled Maddie, but he's too worried about his own reputation instead of letting his son suffer the consequences that he should have suffered. And that's why Nate is a monster. That's why Nate is a monster, because his dad gives him whatever he wants and makes countless excuses for his terrible actions and behaviors. He also puts this pressure on Nate to be a man, a football star, and the perfect son, when he needs to be focused on being a regular teenage boy and not the perfect manly man. The man Kyle can't be. He's projecting it onto Nate. He needs to be focused on getting therapy for his anger issues and paying for his crimes, and not anything Cal wants him to be. Cal is projecting. Oh, I wrote that. Cal is projecting what he wishes he could be onto Nate, and that's just not cool. A terrible, terrible parent. And when I was saying I was talking about Nate when I say he needs to focus on his, getting therapy for his anger issues and stuff like that. So, I understand when Kyle was younger, the world was completely different towards gay people, and he wanted to protect himself from that scrutiny. I understand that completely. Maybe he has been in denial as well for so long about his sexuality before he came to terms with it. But what he's doing currently in his secret life is hurting people, hurting so many people. Prime example is he's the season 2. Season 1 is the reason all this. Oh my god. Prime example is Nate and the way he acts and what he's doing to Jules because of Cal's nasty mess. Also, this poor man's wife probably has no idea that her husband is a weirdo cheating pedophile. She knows now though. By the way, he's not a weirdo because of his sexuality, of course. He's a weirdo for recording everything he's done with every sexual partner he's had in that dusty, dingy motel room that they probably don't even know he was recording, because Jules sure didn't know. Cal needs help quickly. Quickly, he needs help. I don't like him or his son. This pathetic man was begging Jules not to say anything about what they did, and I don't believe there's no way this man didn't know she was a 16 or 17-year-old girl. He literally went white in the face and threw up when the police called him for Nate, thinking it was about Jules. He knows he's disgusting. I don't like him or his son. So yeah, that's Kyle for you. Next is my girl Leslie. Leslie is one of the best parents on this show, and there are a lot of bad ones. Of course, she isn't perfect, but you can tell she loves her children. She will do anything for them and wants the best for them. She's trying her best to raise them right and protect them the best way she can. She's so sweet and caring to her girls. She tries her best to be understanding and empathetic towards Rue. Ever since Rue was a child, she was always trying to encourage her with her disorders and make things better. She's a great, loving mother, and she's been through so much. Imagine losing your husband to cancer and then almost losing your daughter to a drug overdose. She's working 2 jobs to stay afloat. She's been doing that ever since her husband got diagnosed with cancer because he couldn't work anymore. Leslie and Rue gets into very terrible and heartbreaking fights, which usually results to Leslie hitting Rue and Rue running away. Of course, I don't think Leslie should hit Rue, and that's one of Leslie's flaws, is that her anger does get the best of her. She puts her hands on Rue when Rue provokes her to no end, but that's still not a reason to hit your child. But at the same time, Rue does swing at her, and Rue threw a whole picture at her, like a whole big picture, and so I don't know, maybe it is just so, she's just defending herself against Rue when she's being wild. But also, I think one time Leslie did just get mad and just slapped her just because she was just mad at Rue. So I don't know. That's a tough one. But other than that, I love Leslie, and you can tell she loves Rue and Gia deeply. Next is Suze. I didn't observe much about Miss Suze other than that she's an alcoholic and lives through Cassie. She isn't jealous of Cassie and doesn't want to be her, but you can tell she's living out her teenage years vicariously through Cassie. That's why she's friends with Cassie instead of being her mother. She lets Cassie talk to her any kind of way. She lets Cassie do whatever she wants. She doesn't parent or educate her on sex and boys. The only thing she tells this child, because that's what Cassie is, a child, is to not get pregnant. That's her advice. That's her genius advice. Don't get pregnant. Okay. How's that helping me? Well, how's that helping Cassie? She wants to be a friend, so she won't have to bear the burden of being a mother. Something she needs to be for her girls. Also, she completely ignores Lexi. That child is non-existent to her. Lexi doesn't exist. It's all about her wine and Cassie. I hate that she's an alcoholic because that's a terrible addiction, but I'm not going to give her sympathy for being a terrible mother because of it. Next is David. David is the father of Jules. There's not much to say about David other than that he is a sweet man and one of the best parents on the show. There are only two good parents on this show, by the way, and that's because I'm excluding Maddie and Kat's family, but apparently Maddie's dad is nothing but a lazy, jobless man and can't get it together. Anyways, back to David. He uprooted his whole life for Jules. He left his alcoholic wife, whom I'm sure he loved, for him and Jules to have a better life. He's fully supportive of Jules, and we can tell he loves her so deeply. We love David. Stan David. And the last adult and the last section of the show portion is Ali. Like Aladdin. From the moment we were introduced to Ali, I immediately liked him, even though he has this deep, kind of scary voice and doesn't sugarcoat anything. He still has this warm, comforting aura to him. You can feel from his energy that he's supposed to be this trusting father figure for Rue, and I really do get that energy from him. He's easy to trust, sweet but assertive, honest, genuine, understanding, and a good listener. He's there for Rue whenever she needs him, and he tries his best to be a great mentor and friend to her and sponsor. He wants to lead her into the right direction because he believes in her sobriety, just like the rest of us. He believes in it more than Rue believes in it. I love Ali a lot. He's a great man, and I can't wait to see more of him in season 2. Also, his background story was so heartbreaking. But I hope we do learn more about him in his past life if there is more to tell. But yeah, his backstory is so sad, and it goes to show, just because you did like one terrible thing in the past or a couple terrible things in the past, it doesn't define you as a whole and just make you a completely bad person. So the next category or section is the fashion. So the clothes. The costume designer for the show is Heidi Bivens. She has stated that to put everyone's looks together, she sorted through vintage pieces, customized some looks herself, and even bought from trendy fashion brands, some even being from Instagram. She also stated that she would go to high schools and look at clothing that teens would wear to get inspiration for the characters' wardrobes. Okay, USPS. She even let the cast collaborate with her on their looks so everyone could help bring the characters to life. Sam Levinson even said he wanted the characters' wardrobes to be memorable and have people wear it for Halloween, or have someone get the reference to the show and the characters when seeing someone dressed like them on the streets. Makeup. I'm so sorry if I say this wrong. Daniela Daddy is the makeup artist for the show, and her vision for the show was to let the makeup help define each character's persona. She used it as a tool to help tell the story of their ongoing struggles. Sam Levinson also stated his input on the makeup for the show, saying he wanted the makeup to play a major aesthetic role in the show, just like Daniela. He wanted it to help tell the story, show the characters' emotions, and help express their personalities. And I couldn't find anything on hair for season 1. So, Rue. Starting off with Rue again. Rue's fashion consists of baggy t-shirts with random designs or simply plain floral button-down vacation dad shirts. Sometimes. Baggy shorts and cargo pants and Converse with either an oversized hoodie or jacket. She dresses like a tomboy, very comfortable and relaxed, and doesn't usually dress up or wear makeup unless Jules is dressing her and doing her makeup. Even when she dressed up for the dance, she has on pants with a nice simple corset top, blazer, and sneakers. That's dressed up for Rue, but still her comfortable tomboy style. Rue doesn't try too hard and she doesn't care. Her hair is either in a bun or hanging loosely down in its natural state. So, yeah. Next is Jules. We can pretend like I'm giving Jules today. I'm honestly giving Blair Waldorf, but we'll just say I'm giving Jules. So Jules' fashion consists of a mini or tennis skirts, crop tops, sometimes they're sheer or mesh, heels, platform sneakers and boots, chokers, and mini backpacks. Her color palette consists of pastels, fluorescent, and candy colors. Pastel, fluorescent, and candy colors. Yeah. She dresses very soft and ultra femininely for the male gaze. Sam Levinson said he wants Jules to look like she's inspired by anime. And in the show, Jules watches anime, so it makes sense. Jules' style in the beginning is kind of like my style. I am a mix of Maddie and Jules, a little drop of Cassie, but mainly Maddie and Jules are like my two styles. Anyways, over time, Jules' style changes because of the detrimental drama that's occurring in her life. She starts wearing darker colors, more pants and combat boots, and overall becoming less revealing but still feminine since she's Jules and Jules is a girl. Her hair even changes from strawberry blonde with pink tips to dirty blonde with black streaks, showing the turmoil she's going through, and it's also shown in her makeup. She goes from soft, bright, colored, fun, and youthful makeup to darker, bolder, edgier makeup. It doesn't matter which style Jules chooses to wear, and she still looks so pretty. But I do prefer her more girly, like super girly, ultra feminine pastel style at the beginning of the show. So next is Maddie. Maddie's style is what I would like to describe as glamorous insta baddie, almost high fashion. It's clothes you would see Instagram baddie influencers wear, but Maddie elevates that style and aesthetic by adding her own level of glamour to it that sets her apart from anyone else you would see wearing it. She adds almost high-end fashion looking pieces to her wardrobe, even though it doesn't cost nearly as much as high-end fashion brands. She wears a lot of matching sets, form-fitting dresses, mini skirts, crop tops, and sometimes jeans. She'll wear any colors, whether they're pastel or dark. Maddie switches between heels, boots, and sneakers, depending on what she's wearing. Her hair is always done in a different style, whether it's cornrows, like in the front, and then the rest is hanging down, a high ponytail, curled down, straightened down, top knot or bun, and wavy. As well, I mean, what? As we all know, her makeup is always done with bedazzled jewels, winged multicolored eyeliner, multicolored bold eyeshadows, and lip gloss. Maddie's makeup is my favorite on the show, and I think everyone's favorite on the show. She always looks so beautiful, and you can tell she takes extra time out of her day to go all out with her makeup. So next is Kat. Kat started off wearing boring, figure hiding, plain clothing. She then transitioned into wearing darker, bolder, figure hugging, sexier clothing with a dominatrix influence. She adds a lot of studs and chains to her clothing pieces and wears them as accessories. Kat mostly wears a lot of reds and blacks, but she'll add in other dark colors as well, such as purple and blue. One time she even had a cute little neon moment with the lime green and I think orange. I know she wore lime green and purple, and I could have sworn she had some orange on one time. She wears corsets, fitted jeans, short skirts, crop tops with a t-shirt underneath, lace-up bustiers, chokers. Did I already say that? I don't know. Fishnet tights, vinyl, and combat boots. Her makeup is usually dark and simple with a bold lip, mainly red. Her hair is mostly worn down and is usually straight, but she'll add curls or waves or slick it back depending on the outfit. And lastly is Cassie. Couldn't find anything for Lexi for season one fashion and makeup, but she wasn't really in season one that much. Um, but yeah, so jeez, okay. But yeah, so Cassie's style and her character in general is supposed to be the girl next door that's not so innocent. Like she acts innocent even though she's not. And that describes her perfectly. Really, Cassie doesn't have a personalized touch or to her style because she's usually dressing for her boyfriends or boys in general instead of for herself. She wears a lot of cleavage bearing tops. I don't know why that would not come out. She wears a lot of cleavage bearing tops in flirty colors, and most of her outfits hug her curves in the right places. Another word I would use to describe her style is flirty. She wears a lot of jeans, crop tops, dresses, and skirts with sneakers or little booties. Cassie mainly wears the colors baby blue and baby pink. Like that, those are her. She wearing blue and pink, and that's what she's sticking to. You don't really see her in any other colors, which is fine. Me too, girl. She dresses girly but comfortable, simple without showing too much or too little, due to not wanting to be labeled as a slut, but still wanting to get boys' attention. I want Cassie to develop her own personality into her clothing, so we can see more of her through her clothing and makeup. But we saw in season 2, girl. Speaking of makeup, she keeps it very simple and natural looking. She adds a little pizzazz here and there, such as the makeup for her Halloween costume was a bold, sparkly eyeshadow look with a bold red lip, and in her fantasy ice skating sequence, she had a bold green and blue eyeshadow look with bedazzled jewels on her lids and all over her face. For the most part, though, Cassie keeps it light and natural, and this applies to her hair as well. It's mostly worn down and is either curled or wavy. Yeah, but her hair is like mostly curled. She'll she'll wear it up in a ponytail, um, sometimes, but not really. It mostly just stays the same. So now the last section, the music, soundtrack or score, because people get those confused. So in this final section, we are discussing the musical score for the show, not the soundtrack. What's the difference? A score is a piece of music written specifically for a scene in TV, film, or theater. A soundtrack is basically a big combination of different artists that was used in the show or film. Yeah, that's the difference between a soundtrack and a score. So, what the world of Euphoria sounds like. The original musical score was and is composed by Labyrinth. Labyrinth is a producer and recording artist that was asked by Sam Levinson himself to score the show, which Labyrinth loves doing the score for the show. The score is filled with emotional, colorful, kaleidoscopic sounds that blend beautifully together to make ear-pleasing, feeling-filled storytelling music. The score is fuel for each character's background story and numerous confrontations in the show. It adds a tasteful yet mysterious layer of drama. Labyrinth only has 3 songs on the score where he thoroughly sings on the track, and the rest is just his ad libs or him saying words or numbers. His voice and the production feel like another character on the show. That's how important this music was to the show. It is the show. Not only would the show not be the same without it, but the score wouldn't work or sound as good on any other show or movie. This music takes you into the world of Euphoria on the musical level. We can all see what Euphoria looks like, but hearing and feeling what it sounds like is a whole new level. Like, this music is a combination of genres such as pop, electronic, trap, lo-fi, and R&B, and it's just like this wouldn't work. This sound wouldn't work with anything other than Euphoria, especially crafted just for this show. So, impact and favorite songs, the last section, or a little piece of the section. The original score is so well done that the songs on there still go viral to this day on social media, especially TikTok. The score has been used in over 2 million TikTok videos and counting. It's probably up to 3 million now since the second season came out. The songs became in-demand playlist songs on Spotify and Apple Music, and even made it onto Billboard TV show charts. I did not even know that was a chart. My top 3 songs from the score are Forever, When I R.I.P., and Demanding Excellence. All For Us is loved and appreciated, but it is a part of the soundtrack and not the score. Whew, and there we have it. That is how I feel about Euphoria Season 1. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys formed some opinions, and if you have, whether you agree or disagree, let me know down below in the comments. I want to hear y'all opinions and theories and all of that. I'm sorry for all for all the sounds and interruptions. It's my first time doing something like this about a TV show, so it's like trial and error. So yeah, I was really excited to do this video. I was supposed to film this 2 weekends ago, but the first weekend I wasn't feeling good. The second weekend my family came into town. So now I'm finally doing it. I'm so excited, and like I said, I've been working on this script since January, and I'm just happy to finally film it and have it out. And I really hope y'all like it. And it's my first time like doing something like this, like I said, so hopefully the next time I will be better. I'm still, it's been like I've been on YouTube for a year, but I'm still like figuring out how to do everything and learning as I go. But yeah, you guys, yeah, this is the end of the video about Euphoria season 1 and how I feel about it. Like I said, social medias were at the beginning of the video and it will be down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment and share if you want to. Of course, you don't have to, but I hope you do want to, so we can be friends. Oh my god, I was like so happy I finally did it, but also super happy that I'm finally done talking. Like, I don't think I'm gonna talk for the rest of the day. my throat and my voice are tired. But I don't know, I'm just really so happy right now. Okay, I'm rambling. I'm gonna shut up now. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.